everybody. Welcome to another episode of Scales 13. All right, so today I'm going to explain, I'm going to go a little bit more in depth in what I did to help get my Ackie monitor tamed and get him more accustomed to me. This little guy was extremely flighty when I first got him, like most reptiles are. Most pets that you have that are brand new and basically didn't have a long-term previous owner and very young, usually they're very afraid. Why? Because in the wild, that's the time of their life where they're the most vulnerable. That's when they're in the most danger by predators and even by members of their own species if they belong to a predatory species, right? Well, that means that there's nothing wrong with your animal being afraid of you when you first get it. But I'm basically going to explain some techniques that I did as I went through the journey with my Varanus acantharus, and the different techniques that I tried and that I used in order to get this guy to be an interactive pet and to make this animal easier to deal with as far as not only with care, but also with going in his enclosure and being able to do my my daily maintenance. Okay, so the first step I would honestly say is when you first bring your Varanus acantharus home, the first thing you want to do is get the animal used to its environment. That means when you bring it home and you take it out of the container or the deli cup that you have this animal in, you want to make sure that your enclosure is properly set up. Check your temperatures, check your humidity, make sure that your vents are closed if need be, make sure that everything is secure, and make sure the animal has water, and then you want to leave the animal alone for a few days, just so that way it can start getting to know its new grounds and its new territory, so that way your little animal can see its enclosure as a place of safety and its own territory. Especially, I don't know if you guys have seen before in some other Varanus acantharus videos, but some other videos you'll see these guys, they'll lay on the ground and they'll pretty much rub their butt into the soil. And from what I've read, that is the animal marking its territory. So it's good for the animal to believe that the enclosure is its own territory, because that means it has ownership of this space as a home, and opposed to feeling like it's trapped inside of a box all day. Now, there are some things that you can do to keep your animal more entertained, if you want to use that word. I'm going to basically say enrichment. Basically, there's other things you can do to enrich your animal's day, so that way its brain isn't going stagnant, it's actually thinking, it's actually using its mind, it's not getting bored and restless, so that way the animal doesn't feel like it's trapped and it wants to just get out constantly. Alright guys, so the second thing I'm going to discuss is food. So basically, when you first get your Varanus acantharus, you want to just put the food in the enclosure and you want to just leave it, just like any other animal, right? This part that I'm mentioning now is pretty much universal to all reptiles, all pets per se, because if it's not used to you that yet, you want it to at least make sure the animal's healthy and make sure that it's eating. So you leave the animal in a comfortable space where it's not afraid or worried about other stimuli, and when it's nice and quiet, the animal will come out and eat. So that way, at least you know your animal is comfortable in its environment and comfortable in eating in its own environment, so that way the animal can live and thrive within the enclosure. Alright guys, so the subject of tongue feeding and taming your Ackie monitor. So the reason why tongue feeding is so awesome is because it gets the animal to come to you during feeding versus just catching its food on its own. So if I were to take this hornworm here, if he's in the mood to eat a hornworm, and bring it to Thunder, you see how he chases it? But in his earlier stages, before he was okay with hand feeding, this gives me a little bit of space. So instead of him being afraid of coming to my hand, he's at least used to coming towards my person for food. Get it, boy. What? Oh, sorry. Yeah, also, guys, when you tongue feed or do any type of feeding, don't shove the food in your animal's face. The thing about me is right now is my hand's a little tired from sitting here trying to do this, so I made a little mistake right there. You want this? You want this? I want him to grab the long end. If this thing will stop wiggling like a moron. Come on. Get it. Get it. Maybe I'll just lay it here. You can get a better bite on it. Come on, buddy. Nab it. Good boy. See, once he grabs it, just let go. So the awesome thing about that is it gets your animal used to coming towards you for food. Wow, fell in the water bowl. That looked like a scene from a horror movie. That was awesome. All right. Alternative technique to hand feeding. So guys, not everybody's going to be comfortable with hand feeding for good reason, right? If you're not comfortable with taking the risk of being bit, here's an easier and honestly a better way to get the animal used to your hand coming towards it. So what I do is I bring my hand as close to the animal as the animal would like. This is all by the animal's terms. Drop the food in front of the animal. I move away. So this is really good because sometimes an animal will not even hand feed from you, even though you're coming towards it with food. All it sees is a big scary hand coming towards it, right? So what I like about this technique is as soon as you see the animal tense up, or depending on how long you've had your animal, if you know that your animal is afraid, and it only allows you to come, let's say, within a foot of it, within 6 inches of it, within 10 inches of it, you can get close and drop food and then remove yourself while the animal enjoys its meal. And what I like about this technique is it's all by the animal's terms, you know? With hand feeding and with tongue feeding, it's a little bit more direct because you're moving straight towards the animal to a point where the animal is in contact with your hand or the animal is in contact with the tongs. And some animals, like mine early on, wouldn't allow me to hand feed. Like I said, he'll allow me to tongue feed, but some of them won't even allow you to tongue feed. But if you want to have a safe alternative to hand feeding, once you've gotten past the whole tongue feeding thing, just get your, I would even say this is in between step, where once you're done with tongue feeding, let's say you want to start hand feeding, if your animal still doesn't want to deal with hand feeding, you can basically feed your animal by dropping the food in front of it. That way it sees its meal, it eats it, and it knows, hey, if this guy's coming towards me, he might be bringing food. Ah, you missed that one, buddy. You missed that one. You missed it. He'll go back there and get it. Guys, so another way to feed your Ackie monitor in order to get it used to approaching you is hand feeding. Now, I don't suggest using this technique with larger monitors that could potentially give you some pretty serious injuries. But with an Ackie monitor, since they're small and your fingers can't really fit in the animal's mouth and it can't really wrap its mouth around your hand, I take this risk because they're small, and if I do get bit, it's not going to be that bad. Worst case scenario, I'll just probably have a little bit of broken skin with some blood and stuff. So basically, this is what I'm going to do. Excuse the horrible glass I have to clean this. But that's why we do it with the windows open, right, bud? Okay, so right here I have a dubia that I stunned, and I'm going to show you how I did this. So at first I wasn't confident in the animal not nipping me, and I didn't know how good Thunder's aim was. I know how good it was when it came to catching insects, but I didn't know how in control he would be in order not to bite me. So basically, I put it on my hand like this. I make sure that my fingers are not stretched out, and I let him come to me and just pick it out. See? see, that's what I like about this technique. So with this technique, I'm not holding the food item like this, because anytime I hold it like this, there's always a chance where he can over grab the prey and nip one of my fingers. You know what I mean? So I like using this technique. And then once I did get confident in his abilities, I started to hold the food like this. Now he really likes dubious, so I'm not going to do this right now. Actually, yeah, why not? Look, see? So he's all right with that, because you know, I'm confident that this animal isn't going to bite me, because we've already kind of been through that before. I'm not gonna say I've never been bitten. Like, he has grabbed me once or twice, but he's never broken skin. With that being said, there is a chance that your animal can bite you and it can break skin if you do hand feeding. But I liked it because it gave me that intermediate step where, after using my tongs to feed the Ackie, now he's okay with my hands approaching him versus just the tongs. So it let me get that, it let me get a step closer to him in order to feed him. And what it did is it reduced the fear that he had for my hand. Hey, Thunder. Hey, Thunder, what's up, bud? What's up, man? Let me see if I can adjust this a little bit. Are you shedding? Oh, no, you're not shedding. That's the wood in the background. Hey, buddy. Hey. Hey, my friend. Come on. Come on, bud. Come on, buddy. Thunder. Thunder. Good boy. And see, this is the... And as a result of allowing your animal to get used to your presence, that's the response you want to see when you put your arm up to it. You want to see your pet. No. He's getting ready to crawl out of the enclosure. But you want to see your Ackie monitor crawl on you. You want to see them take the first step in interaction. You know what I'm saying? Everything is by this animal's terms. So I just put my hand out. He crawled on top, sniffs me, and that is the response you want to see as a result of all these little feeding tips. Now the animal's used to approaching you. It's lost most of the fear of approaching you. Now the animal just wants to check you out to see if you have food. And it's interested in your presence because it knows something positive is coming, like a reward. Okay, guys, so here's another technique. So let's just say your animal's too flighty to approach the tongs, or it's too flighty to approach your hands, right? Here's a nice little intermediate step that, great, I'm going to call you guys back. Well, what you could do is, you could give the animal some food. And this is what happens during filming when your Ackie monitor decides, I'm going to run out of the enclosure, and runs all the way into the bathroom and jumps in the bathtub. This is just what he does. By the way, guys, I don't suggest soaking your Ackie monitor. They can get swollen toes and stuff from excess moisture. But anyway, yeah, so here he is. And he's got a bunch of dust and stuff on him, so I actually am going to take some wet paper towel and wipe this guy off. So, yeah, back to the video in a little bit. And as you guys can see, here is my Ackie monitor, and we're going to get back to filming now. All right, you little goofball. Maybe we won't be able to finish the video today. We'll probably have to do it another day. But you guys need to get a quick look at him. Skin looks really good and everything. Yeah, just cleaned off all that dust from him running around, running into cobwebs and stuff. All right, let's get back to it. So there you have it, everybody. Those are the techniques that I use, that I've been using so far in order to tame my Ackie monitor and make him more of an interactive pet. So after getting himself cleaned up and putting him back in the enclosure, he is nowhere to be found. So that's the end of the video today. I hope you guys liked it. Feel free to let me know if there's any adjustments I should make in the comments. If you like this video, please like it. And if you want to see more of my content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that little bell icon so you can see all of my new videos. All right, everybody, have a great day. Peace.